Right, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rachak, Wadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders, great millstone, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, wherever you may be, to us say Shalom, Yeshua, Shalom, and let me get to the top of this, because I was reading some of it. This will be super quick, been quite a while, various articles, so I have the question here, which I didn't need it. I just use AI for sake of using it. Could just Google it, and we don't know what it is, but just for sake of someone that may not be familiar with it, we punched in the question: what is a false flag attack? I know how y'all sensitive with these words, but hey, we gotta read it. So just look on my page and you'll see backup channels that you can find me at, if you ever see me catch a strike. But from there, we're gonna keep going. What is a false flag attack? Right? What is a false flag attack? Origin and historical context. A false flag operation is a deceptive act, right off the gate, because I didn't get a chance to read this shit. There you go. Deceptive act designed to make it appear as though it were carried out by someone other than the actual perpetrator. So in other words, a staged event to make it seem like some foreign enemy did something, for example, when really the one who did the attack was the actual country who wants to provoke that foreign enemy, or whatever the case may be. I guess there's a decent example there. The term originated in naval warfare, where ships would fly the flag of a neutral or enemy country to deceive their targets. This tactic has evolved to include, I guess that was kind of smart though, right? You come dressed up like a neutral country, and really it's basically to get close, right, enough that you can launch a preemptive strike, by surprise. This tactic has evolved to include acts committed by countries, organizations, or individuals to misrepresent their identity or motives, often with the goal of generating sympathy, justifying actions, or undermining opponents. Use in warfare and pretext for war. The term false flag has its roots in the 16th century, initially referring to the intentional misrepresentation of allegiance. In naval warfare, it involved a ship flying a false flag to deceive other vessels. We just read that. This practice was initially used by pirates and privateers to get closer to their targets before attacking. Over time, it became an accepted tactic in naval warfare, provided the true flag was displayed before engaging in battle. Notable examples include false flag operations have been used throughout history as a pretext for war or to justify military actions. In land warfare, the use of false flags is similar to naval warfare, with the goal of deceiving the enemy. However, it is crucial that the deception is not perfidious and that the true identity is revealed before engaging in combat. We're not going to look that word up. I want to look it up, but I don't want to get taken away from this. So let's keep going. Just look it up for yourself. Examples include false flag operations continue to be a concern in the modern era, particularly in the context of cybersecurity and political campaigns. False flags in modern era. The Russo-Swedish War of 1788. The Swedish staged an attack on their own outpost to provoke a war with Russia. Right? Perfect example of a false flag. There you go. The Mukden incident, 1931. The Winter War. Yeah. What about the 9/11? They ain't put that up there, huh? Goes to show you who really runs this AI. Because they ain't gonna put 9/11 up there. All right. Twin Tower incident or the Pentagon. I believe that was part of it too, wasn't it? Not that exact one. I believe it was a separate incident, but that what happened to the Pentagon. All right. Anyways, yeah. Don't expect them to put that up there, right? It says modern era, but look, 1788, 1731, 1739, 1939. Come on, man. Stop the madness. False flags in political campaigns. Operation Northwoods, 1962. Russian invasion of Ukraine, 2022. Well, yeah, they put that in there, right? That is ongoing currently, okay? Beginning with the annexation of Crimea, and then they started to have the incident with the Crimea Bridge. Then they started to have the incident in I think it was in the Baltic Sea, and now they then what they call the Great Meat Grinder, basically at war with one another. Okay, currently. Cybersecurity false flags involve bad actors launching attacks while pretending to be someone else, such as the Olympic destroyer hack, where Russian threat actors were suspected of framing North Korea. Examples include false flag tactics False flag tactics are also used in political campaigns to discredit opponents or create the appearance of support. This can involve supporters of one candidate posing as supporters of another or creating false documents. All right, so you see, it's more than just limited to attacks. You know, it could be inside political campaigns and things of that nature. Right? Cybersecurity and false flags. 2006 U.S. elections. 2011 Wisconsin protests. 2018 U.S. midterm elections. 2025 Canadian federal election. What am I lighting up here by mistake? Because my thumb was on the side. Okay. To identify false flags in cybersecurity, investigators use. In cybersecurity, a false flag operation involves attackers launching an attack while pretending to be someone else. This can be done to avoid being traced, confuse the defenders, or frame another party. Alright, attackers may copy the signature moves of known groups, use IP addresses tied to a specific country, or repurpose malware. The consequences of false flag operations in cybersecurity include deep digital forensics, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm not gonna read all that. Therefore, a false flag attack is a hostile or harmful action designed to deceive and misrepresent the true perpetrator, with the goal of manipulating perceptions, justifying actions, or undermining opponents. All right. So, now you wonder, why the heck are we reading this? All right. And while I'm thinking about it, I was just looking at another, what is actually an article, someone talking about it, but I really couldn't find too much on it. At least it didn't pop up. Maybe if I look for it again, it's not really important. But it was some chick speaking about how they're trying to push the digital ID on Austrian teachers. All right, to make use of that, you're trying to force it on them. So, you know, probably have to dig something up on that. But yeah, what is a false flag attack? Why are we reading this? Let me get up here because I saw this here from the Tehran Times. Now, it says exclusive: Israel planned false flag operation on U.S. soil. Could it be true? Absolutely. Can we say it's true? No, we can't. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put his face up there. Alright, so I'm not saying this is true or not. I'm just simply reading it, and it's only a couple paragraphs long because I did have a chance to read into it. So exclusive: Israel planned false flag operation on U.S. soil. So it says here from Tehran, information obtained by the Tehran Times shows that Israel was plotting to carry out an explosion on U.S. soil and subsequently blame Iran, with the apparent aim of instigating a full-scale war between the United States and Iran. Now, the reason why I want to also read this is because it's very interesting. Now, I'm not saying this is true or not true, but what I'm saying, if this was true, or even if it wasn't true, it's just very interesting how this pops up. Because look at the article titled, not titled, but dated June 25th, 2025. So, you have what talks of, it's very interesting to read this and then hear about talks of America being on high alert for sleeper cells from Iran, right? But then you have here mentioning Israel planning an explosion on U.S. soil to blame Iran to get, you know, America and Iran to go back and forth. But yet that already happened because you had America step in to supposedly, which I don't think they really did the damage that they're perpetrating on TV to do, that they have done, but, you know, on some of their nuclear sites. So it's a lot of, you know, but it makes me think about the movie Leave the World Behind, right, where it talks about flooding them with misinformation and all this confusion and stuff like that. Because that when you put it all together, all right, if you believe it all, it is very confusing. All right, Israel plotting an attack on U.S. soil, blaming on Iran, but yet America already stepped in for Iran. Okay, so, you know, it really, none of that makes sense. So what's true is what's true, and what's false is what's false. And I'm not here to decide what's true, what's false. I simply wanted to read this because I thought it was very interesting. Okay, so it says, yeah. So let me read it again. Information obtained by the Tehran Times shows that Israel was plotting to carry out an explosion on U.S. soil and subsequently blame Iran, with the apparent aim of instigating a full-scale war between the United States and Iran. And once again, whether true or false, the scriptures do say that the least of the flock shall draw them out, and the least of the flock is Amalek. Okay, I'm not saying his name is Amalek. I mean, he's part of, look at that face though. Come on, man. Would you want that guy judging your case in court? Come on, man. Alright, the executioner comes up looking like this, all right, with a black gimp suit on and some big ass ears sticking out on the side. Amalek are the Israelis, man. Okay, the plan involved orchestrating a destructive event within the U.S. and fabricating evidence to implicate Iran, thereby manipulating American public opinion and prompting military action. So it says thereby manipulating American public opinion, because they always, which that seems to be important, they always want to rally the American people behind them in wars, right? You notice that, okay? The country, they always want their citizens to be okay, all right, with it, and rally behind them. All right, but with everything going on in the world, you always see a split nowadays. Or there's always a split, but you see a firm, thin line drawn in the sand, right? Where there's people that say, hell no, we should be doing this and doing that, and blah blah blah. And like, yeah, the other side, yeah, let's do it, bomb, no, do this, do that, all right. So you see that, but also interesting. Thereby manipulating American public opinion and prompting military action, because they're gonna say, hey, it was Iran that did it. It was Iran that did it. Yeah, Iran did it. And you're gonna rally up the American people. Yeah, blow them off the map. So yeah. So it says Iran uncovered the Israeli plot through information shared by a friendly nation. Well, who's that? It doesn't say. Upon learning of the potential attack, Iranians sent messages to the U.S. officials and prevented the planned explosion from occurring. All right, but once again, yet you have America that stepped in for Israel anyways to drop some bombs. So, this is just all part of, their confusion. Like I said, whether it's true or not, it's still part of, confusion, okay? And, what the prophecies say is what matters, right? What happens on the world stage is going to happen on the world stage regardless. But whether or not it ties in with prophecy of the book is what matters the most, okay? So that's pretty much it there. Like I said, it's just a paragraph so long. You really can't even call it a paragraph. If you put it all together, it's a paragraph, but it's really several sentences. But you get the point, though. We read it, all right, real quick. Exclusive: Israel plan false flag operations on U.S. soil. So that's all I have for you. Lord, will you edify? Shalom.